Not the time to know my phone. I'll be out of here. Oh, it's fine. Well, you don't need sound tonight? You sound?
He didn't tell me.
Yeah, he has finals that he's studying for, so he's not going to be.
Thank you for the heads
He
up.
texted me like an hour ago.
I thought you needed help getting in. I believe they're still downstairs. I don't know.
Is anybody down? Anybody downstairs? Yeah. Somebody.
Yeah.
About
Help in Brandon. The last time I was up here, Brandon.
You got an overflow there tonight, huh?
Told me what.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I can't say.
The other one. The other one.
Call her in.
Loose lips, Jake Sip.
All right, if I can have all the board members here to the podium, we want to get started.
Closing remarks y'all had in terms of trying to figure out some of the meetings. I understand that, but I do really understand. I want to start all over. Really, I don't.
All right, the board met in closed session under exception C1, C11, and C2. I'd like a roll call, please.
Thanks, sir.
She can deal with
Mr. Riddle.
all aspects of the board. I'm talking about the children.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yeah.
Ms. Callahan Walthian. Ms. Leguizamo. Present. Ms. Gonzalez. Present. Mr. Ewing.
Here, so we do have a quorum. I know Mr. Riddle is here. He should be joining us any moment. I'd like a motion to go back into open session.
I motion.
Motion by Ms. Gonzalez, second by Ms. Leguizamo. All in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. We are now in open session. Pledge of Allegiance. What do I see? I don't know. Mr. Alajakis, if you'd be so kind as to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And so, President's report will be brief. I do apologize, but I couldn't get an email prior to the meeting starting. Just a reminder about our mission. Our mission is to educate students for the world of tomorrow is our top priority. Through mobilization of the entire community, we will challenge, teach, and inspire our students. We will provide the resources to serve each of our students, expecting excellence from all involved. We will deliver an exciting education and a safe learning environment that celebrates our diversity and similarities in the spirit of unity and respect. Just a reminder about our Board of Education Unity of Purpose. We affirm the unique role of public education, whereby each community collectively pools its resources for the common good through the education of its students. Therefore, we seek to uphold and improve public education for our community. We want to build trust and move the district forward. We want to become an effective team. We want to understand our individual jobs and collective responsibilities. We want to be a team with a common focused direction. We want to create a culture that supports positive change, and we want to perpetuate a positive district culture that survives in the face of board and member and staff turnover. Just a reminder, we are all adults. We start with the common belief that everyone here has good intentions. We want to create a safe environment for the productive exchange of ideas, sincerely listen and seek to understand the viewpoints of others. We look to solve problems through a collaborative process. The governance team will not disparage fellow board members of the team. Want to commend our JROTC program. The cadets recently packed over 250 boxes with a variety of winter essentials, as well as cookies, games, and handmade holiday cards. The Christmas boxes will be delivered to the Captain James A. Lovell Federal Health Center and distributed to veterans hospitalized during the holiday season. We know that many of our students, and especially our JROTC, step up around this time of year, and I'm so proud of their efforts. Do want to just report back to the board. We did have many members that were present. I believe Ms. Hannah, Ms. Wozniak, as well as Mr. Riddle came out, but we had the first intergovernmental committee meeting at the city of Waukegan. The mission of this working group is to strengthen ties between organizations to positively impact economic development, workforce development, youth programs, and make other positive impacts in our city. I'm excited to be a member of the committee, as it is getting us all to have the dialogue and make sure that we are effectively and resourcefully using the resources that have been entrusted to us as public officials and creating better collaboration. It's because the issues that happen inside our schools impact our city, and the issues that are happening in our city impact our public schools. And so we want to make sure that we are all working together. The uptick in violence is not unique to Waukegan. It is something that is happening throughout the entire nation, but we can be at the forefront of coming up with solutions as it relates to addressing these issues. And then happy holidays. I know we still have a few days to go, but excited for all of the things that are going on in the district and outside of the district. I'm sitting here right now, Boys and Girls Club Winterfest, December 22nd, and I also believe that Black Lives Matter Lake County has an event coming up this Saturday. There's Toys for Tots. They are still looking for volunteers up in Zion, so if you have time, anytime next week. But it is that time of year. We know that it's been a hard year for many, and so I'm excited that while I get to celebrate with family, in a warm home, that's not everybody's experience. So if we all have the time, can make it happen, I think it'd be awesome to give back this year. With that being said, I would like to go down to our opportunity for public comment. Just a reminder, our public comment, there was a sign-in sheet in back. You get 3 minutes. If you need translation services will be provided for you, and you will get 6 minutes to allow for the translation. I do ask that you refrain from mentioning staff or student names in your remarks. There will be a clock on either screen. When I call your name, please come up to the microphone. You can state your name just for the record. And then also, if you would wait for the microphone to be sanitized before you come up. You can remove your mask at the microphone just to help for transmission. First name on the list is Victor Chang. And whenever you're ready, your time will start.
Hello, my name is Victor Cheng. This is my 14th year teaching, 6 of which I've had the privilege of teaching students classified as English language learners, or ELLs, at both high school campuses. We talk about equity of education in terms of access to high quality programs and teachers. Unfortunately, ELLs at the high school are not afforded that access due to the rigidity of program structure and lack of student-centered input from the buildings. We all agree on the ideals of bilingualism and the merits of a full dual language program at the high school. However, rigidity in following those ideals does not consider the realities faced by students, teachers, and building administrators in our day-to-day experiences. Currently, incoming freshmen are placed using strict program guidelines based on a single data point, access test results in 8th grade. Based on that single datum, both recent immigrants and lifelong Waukeganites who may be poor test takers are placed in ESL levels 1 and 2 together. Due to rigid course placement, those same Waukeganites fail multiple content courses like math or science taught only in Spanish, thereby delaying graduation. Additionally, the program's idealized structure requires a high number of teachers who are dual certified, both in content and an ESL or bilingual endorsement. However, due to teacher shortage and with dual certified even rarer, ELLs must be taught multiple classes on the Elevate online platform. So it becomes the worst of COVID educational situations. They come to school, but they're taught remotely by a different online teacher each day. Meanwhile, their long-term substitute in the classroom has very little opportunity to engage nor support students. Finally, EL program course requirements restrict access to electives for students. Currently, our program requires special content courses and even extra support classes. Some students are automatically matriculated into the high school dual language program without even being given an option to choose a different program of instruction. Students don't have the free space in their schedules to explore STEAM areas of science, technology, engineering, fine arts, or math. We all want a quality, equitable education for all our English language learners. We building level stakeholders have research-based solutions. We desire a seat at the table to revise the program, as well as input, flexibility, and trust in adapting the program to our situation on the ground. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Chung. Next name, and forgive me if I butcher the last name, just make sure you correct me on the microphone, is a Sarah Mihinigash? I'm sorry. Please correct me.
I'll give you, it's probably half my handwriting. Good evening. My name is Sarah Mulhausen. I am an art teacher at Waukegan High School, Washington campus. I am a union member, and I'm a graduate of Waukegan High School, class of 2007. I am proud to say I was born and raised in Waukegan. My family continues to live here and participate within the community. At a young age, I made friends with individuals from surrounding areas. Many would tell me how dangerous Waukegan might be, or must be, how scared I must be going to class. I was mocked because others assumed my education was lower than the surrounding high schools, but I stand here as someone with 3 college degrees, having graduated from my graduate program summa cum laude. I have and continue to defend Waukegan. Waukegan taught me so much more than geometry and the scarlet letter. I learned empathy, I learned true friendship, I learned self-reliance, and I learned that diversity is crucial to a fully rounded education. My teachers worked hard to develop curriculum and lessons without access to books and before the time of student laptops. They built something incredible from being given so little. My teachers were empowered by the administration. Security and safety staff had control and influence in how the school was run. Security was in every hallway and readily available. Someone was always there to assist with issues, and there were consequences for your actions. I remember police officers stationed at the schools for extreme circumstances, and they were visible. This is my first year in the district, and nothing as it was before. Teachers I respected and looked up to are worn out and tired, barely even stopping students who roam in the halls. And why would they? Students have the control and determine their own punishment, based simply in the fact that they know they won't be punished, or at least not severely. As a teacher new to the district, the only discipline information I was given was the dress code. I was not informed nor introduced to the chain of command in that respect. We spent the week before school learning the demographics of Waukegan and various teaching methods. I was not given a teacher-employee handbook. I was not given a student handbook. No one taught me how to submit a behavioral referral. No one explained that I needed to record everything in a student's PLP and Infinite Campus. No one has empowered me like my teachers were. I was never informed of the consequences for student behavior. How can we expect students to behave and succeed if they're not given the goals and expectations? As my first year in the district, if I were not an alum of Waukegan High School, I would be looking for another position. The lack of support and the lack of policy is overwhelming, but the students deserve better. They can do better. They need to be challenged in the classroom and in the hallways, so they continue to hold those values as they move on in their lives. We set the expectations. We have been setting them too low. Demand more from them. They are asking for it by acting out, but our hands as teachers have been tied without the full support from administration and the school board, or without written and fully implemented behavioral policies. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next name on the list is Margot Gillen.
Happy holidays, and thank you for your time and commitment to our students and community. My name is Margot Gillen. I stand in blue representing my union and wear a button out of ongoing concerns for safety for all. You each have one. I'm also a mother, a homeowner, and paid local taxes here in Waukegan for over 20 years. Tonight I come to you with some suggestions. 1, competitive pay for substitutes and paras. 2, concern for safety regarding enforcement of SB 100 as written, not as it is often interpreted. 3, timely communication with the bargaining units and others. And 4, elimination of evaluations for tenured teachers. Currently, our teachers are exhausted and overwhelmed with the needs of our students. Students need 200%, and our teachers only have 25% to give. We've had 20 months of COVID. Our administration is scrambling to cover classrooms without teachers due to resignations, COVID, and the national teacher shortage. We need the board to act now. We need to raise the pay for substitutes to be competitive with our surrounding communities. In the past, the board has temporarily raised the rate for substitutes. We need the board to once again do this now. We are not competitive with companies offering hiring bonus, double pay, and other perks. I know that you are aware of the worker shortages wherever you go. We need to attract quality folks to supervise our babies. We need the board to raise paraprofessional pay. Para pay needs to be competitive with McDonald's and the temporary agency that is also supplying paras at a higher cost to our district. Our hardworking, dedicated paras that have been here for a decade earn less than the newly hired agency para. Loyalty to District 60 does not keep one's lights on or bread on the table. Students that assault staff and that bring weapons and or drugs to school need to have more than 10 minutes with the dean and a note in the record that says a situation was discussed. Teachers are threatened, and when they push the issue with their administration, they are choosing to leave rather than deal with the problems that they're given for standing up. Weapons and no behavioral support. Similarly, the mask mandate needs to be enforced with consistent administrative support. While the teachers appreciate the recent cookies, cocoa, and cider, teachers would rather have responses to having access to refrigerators and microwaves, which has been in negotiations since August. Refrigerators and microwave access allows teachers to eat and socially distance. Other issues that could have been resolved locally are being escalated to outside agencies because individuals are unresponsive to repeated requests.
Thank you, Ms. Gillen. Next name on the list is Jody Kelly.
Good evening and happy holidays to you all. I'm Jody Kelly. I've been in the district 18 years and I'm a union member, and I'm just going to finish off what Margot wrote. Other issues that could have been resolved locally are being escalated to outside agencies because individuals are unresponsive to repeated requests to talk and ongoing stall techniques to avoid hard questions. Case in point, I believe that I see the board, or Margot will vote on a settlement with a former employee later this evening. Had the open and desire to communicate with employees. I'm not sure. Finally, the state of Illinois has allowed for the elimination of evaluations for the year. Chicago has chosen to evaluate new, untenured, and in need of teachers in need of remediation. I believe that if we adopted this for the year, both administration and teachers would appreciate having one less thing on their plate. In summary, competitive pay for paras and subs, COVID and behavioral safety, timely communication with bargaining units, elimination of evaluations. Is that it? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Next name on the list is Frank McCormick. Whenever you're ready, your time will start.
Okay. My name is Frank McCormick, and I've been a teacher here for 10 years. Sorry the superintendent couldn't be here. This system offers adults job security and a paycheck for little more than one's obedience, compliance, and silence. A lot of it's about maintaining the illusion that we're a functioning school district. I've decided to speak out as penance for my years of silence while my students suffered. Our schools are on the verge of collapse from behavioral chaos, violence, staff burnout, and a 10 to 12% student proficiency rate in math and reading. These are the fruits of Ms. Placencia's half-decade with the district, for which she has been rewarded a 45% increase in her base salary, earning her over $300,000 a year with a taxpayer-funded pension worth $16 million. The only thing that will put an end to her plunder of this impoverished community would be the community's awakening to her record of failure. And I suspected she knew that, which is why her subtle racial demagoguery against teachers and invocations of the specter of systemic racism is so deviously ingenious. She has seized upon national racial volatility to create an incredibly convenient excuse for her regime's failures. Suddenly, this is no longer about her incompetence, but the ghosts of implicit bias and racism haunting our schools, which she will now exercise through diversity, equity, and inclusion rights that will cost the district millions. The narrative she has seized upon has emboldened the ideological infiltration of critical theories into the district and classroom. What does this look like? Let me share 2 examples. You have students reading books and receiving lessons, equating our police force, those that have to clean up her mess in the schools, with Confederate slave patrols. And a survey for 9th grade students I uncovered asking children if they, and I quote, orgasmed during their last hookup. All of this is undergirded by her equity plan that according to district emails, will dismantle our white dominant culture. What does that encompass? Shifting the blame for Placencia's failures onto teachers with dozens of hours of implicit bias training and an until now unannounced plan to abolish our alternative program. She is opening Pandora's box with these radical critical ideologies. However well-intentioned people think they are, they will increase the racialization of an already fractured community and impart upon our students identitarian lenses that center skin color as the central part of their existence. Or what was referred to in the training by the district paid for as liberatory education. So carelessly does she unleash these forces, she hasn't even considered the social implications of an increasingly racially conscious and radicalized youth. Suppose the moment in history comes when economic conditions are dire. In that case, our youth's perceptive stratification of racial groups into oppressed or oppressed classes will come to fruition in a social storm that will tear this country apart. Ms. Placencia is a member of a bureaucratic class of charlatans and frauds, enriching herself at the expense of an impoverished community while students suffer. Her tenure with the district should come to an immediate end, and I hope that after the Waukegan community finds the voice to make that happen, they will challenge the foundations of this rotten system. Good night.
Next name on the list is Phil Maione. And whenever you're ready, your time will start.
I do have a feel-good, so hopefully I get through the bad stuff. The last time I was here on October, Mr. Friedlieb took umbrage with the superintendent's appearance at the high school, which resulted in the removal of a child who cursed at her in the hallway. The student was removed from the building and was not allowed to return until there was a parental meeting. Unfortunately, I believe at that time she missed the point. That scenario was an appropriate procedure for a student who demonstrates gross disrespect and inappropriate behavior in a school setting. According to my sources, last week the superintendent was at Brookside again, and she sent home approximately 22 students who were roaming the hall and disregarding safety personnel's request to go to class. These students were also required to complete a re-entry meeting with administration and parent before returning to school. No one was technically suspended, although back in the day that's textbook suspension. This is also appropriate. All of this begs the question, why? Why does the superintendent get to do what the administration in charge of the building cannot? Why are teachers subjected to verbal and sometimes physical abuse, which is far worse, I can assure you of that, than anything endured by Ms. Placencia, and these students are not only allowed to remain in school, they are often returned to class in the same period, which is a violation of the contract. When on one day a student says to a teacher or administrator, "You can't do nothing to me," and on another day that same student says, "Oh blank, she's here," you have neutered the adults under your charge who are supposed to be empowering. You are supposed to be empowering with the ability to manage the building. This is the essence of a micromanaged situation. As a result, you create an environment that is unsafe. Historically, this district, and I've been here for 28 years, has suffered from teacher and administrative turnover for a variety of reasons. If you think turnover was bad in the past, unfortunately, in my opinion, you ain't seen nothing yet. I have 53 seconds. I also coach bowling, the boys. Tonight we had a match against Warren. For those of you that don't know, bowling is 3 games. Each game's worth 2 points, and then the overall total is worth 3, so there's 9 points in a match. We lost the first game by over 133 pins. Got killed. They were really good. We were bad. Second game, we won by 6 pins, but we were still down by 123 pins. So we had to not only win the last game, we had to win it by 123 pins. We won it by 180 pins.
Thank you, Coach. Next name on the list is Clyde McLemore. You said pass. Next name on the list is Mr. Rayon Edwards. Pass. Final name on the list is Brother Blanks. No, not final name. I had someone who asked after I had the list. So you will be Brother Blanks, and I have one after you.
Brother Blanks, Black Abolition Movement for the Mind. And, I used to be a union construction worker. So big ups to you union members. While I was working construction, they used to tell me, they said, Brother Blanks, you keep protesting these job sites as a construction worker, you're going to be blackballed. And I like to share, as I share with a lot of people, I tell them I'm already blackballed. I'm black, and they keep rolling the ball of opportunity past me every chance they get. So I might as well stand on my feet with my sign. And I say that in the essence that, one of your teachers, I think his name was Mr. McCormick, I have to applaud him in a way, because any teacher, and I'd like to see more teachers of all colors come out and express their concerns. Because I look at it like this: if you're willing to put your job on the line for what you believe, I applaud that. Matter of fact, we share more things in common than we probably differ on. Mr. McCormick has some issues with the school district. Some of the teachers have. I got some issues with some of the issues in the district. Like for instance, what happened to some of our administrators? Like what happened to Mr. Jeffrey Duffy? Where is he at? Where is Dr. Kevin Brown? What happened to Dr. Davis and Ms. Sadura? So why is it that we can have black administrators hired, but it just appears they're never retained? So what is it so toxic about the environment that we have this problem in the district? So, Mr. McCormick has some things to say about me personally, but I've been called worse. But my skin is thick as my shoulders are broad. But if whatever he had to say is going to open the doors that we're going to get some results for our children, I'm all for it. So what do I say to that about critical race theory? Personally, what I think is a discussion that needs to be had. He's on the opposite end of the spectrum. He have a problem with race theory. So that's his prerogative and that's his perspective. So what I propose is, he is a Waukegan history teacher, correct me if I'm wrong. So why don't we, your Waukegan school history teacher who has a problem with critical race theory, why don't we open it up for a debate with the United States Army veteran, founder of Black Abolition Movement for the Mind, 30 years cocaine, clean, crack, and heroin free. How I've been affected by drugs, so I think it's a teachable moment and opportunity. So let's look at February. Let's mark February as a moment that we can have a debate in this school on critical race theory. Tell Mr. McCormick I'm welcome to that, and I think it's a time that we have a discussion on.
Thank you, Brother
That's all
Blakes.
I'm saying. He got an issue. Let's talk about it.
Thank you, Brother Blanks. Thank you, Brother Blanks. final name tonight is Nicole Hernandez.
So as I got here, why doesn't the safety guy come around the corner? Because I'm not allowed to be in the hallway with my mask like this, but yet we have administration in the back with their mask like that. But it's a problem, because everything is a problem when it comes to me, because I'm checking your asses, right? All these emails you got, has anybody called the police? Has anybody called the FBI? Has anybody called the CIA? Has anything happened? No, it hasn't. Has Teresa Placencia filed one single grievance on all the 50, 60 emails I have sent? Have you guys checked her ass? No, you haven't. So, yeah, people are going to come in here pissed off. People are going to come in here pissed off because you're not doing shit to the teachers. You're not doing shit to the administrators.
I apologize, but if you can amend your language.
I'll take that extra 10 seconds
That's
for
fine.
the interruption.
Yes, but please
Okay.
don't use profanity at the podium.
You're not keeping children safe. You allow people to come into the schools without showing an ID, without presenting their name. But yet you're gonna let anybody just go ahead and talk to children, and that's perfectly okay, right? It's perfectly okay. You want to act like everything's all PC. No, life is not PC here in Waukegan. Okay, you guys need to get your act together, period. Period. Now, as far as critical race theory goes, okay, you guys can think what you want. I'm half Mexican, I'm half white. We need critical race theory, okay? We need it, period. If you don't believe it, you need to evaluate your own self. Maybe you need to go teach in a white school. Maybe you need to go teach in a private school, but we need it here, okay? Go get a different job. The administrators that are breaking the law need to go to prison. And that's all I have to say. Boom.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. This concludes our public comment. If we can get the agenda back on. I do appreciate all of the comments. They have been noted, and not only noted, I know that there are some things coming. So never a dull moment in District 60. Next up on our agenda is our consent agenda. Again, all the items have been there. One of the requests that the Board of Education has made is that there be attachments. This is done in order to expedite the work of the board. Any board member can ask that any items be removed for any reason. And so I will open that up at this time. Would anyone like anything held over to be voted on separately? Just give me the letter number, please. The letter, please.
Come on, this guy is out here harassing me. And this is what I have to deal with. I just went to the basketball game
And I do apologize, but this is not the appropriate venue.
You know what's not appropriate? It's not appropriate that you guys allow the law to be broken. This is a mandate. You let people talk up there without the mask. You can let people in the thing. I even asked for a reasonable accommodation. Do you guys know what a reasonable accommodation is?
Again, this isn't the appropriate opportunity, so I'm going to ask that you conclude your remarks. I'm going to ask that you would conclude your remarks. I'm going to ask that you conclude your remarks.
Follow your laws, or you can all go to prison, including you all. Including you all.
I do apologize, but public comment has ended. We are now at the consent agenda. I will reiterate, would any person like to hold any item over for any reason?
Mr. President, I know we are getting ready to, I think that may be under, wait a minute. Under the, what was the thing, Art Corps. Did you pull that off, Kathy?
No,
No, G.
It's B and G.
Yeah, B and G. Did we get some kind of some kind of response regarding my concerns about the background checks,
Yes, ma'am.
and where I didn't get anything.
It was emailed to us. We can vote on B and G separately for time. And they can give you,
Yeah, 'cause
Kathy, if you want to
I
respond.
didn't get it.
It was emailed on December 9th, 5 days ago. Ms. Hannah, you're on the
Yeah, I
email.
didn't get it.
Oh, well, you're in the email.
So we got B and G, we're gonna vote on separately. Are there any other items that we want to vote on separately? With that, I'm gonna ask for a motion to approve item A, B, C, D, E, F, which one? Wait, I want to make sure I'm doing. B and G, we're holding over. So A, C, D, E, F, H, I, J, K. So once again, for clarity, I'd like us to vote on items A, C, D, E, F, H, I, J, and K. Do I have a motion?
I motion that we approve as presented.
Motion by
second.
Ms. Leguizamo, second by Ms. Gonzalez. If we can have a roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, items are approved. Consent agenda carries with the exceptions of B and G. I want to read what passed. Item 10A, approval of asphalt and concrete repairs at Carmen Buckner Elementary School. C, approval to purchase STEM materials. D, approval of purchase of sound system for gymnasiums in room 201 at Waukegan High School, Washington campus. E, SSCIP, liability insurance renewal for 2022 plan year. F, risk management plan updates and review. H, renewal of T-Mobile students' Wi-Fi hotspots. I, DocuSign contract management implementation. J, Palo Alto firewall, Google Drive, Aperture license renewal. And K, Smartsheet project management tools and license renewal. And then if the board is okay, I would like to take items B and G together. So we have a motion to approve items B and G.
I motion.
Motion
Second.
by Ms. Leguizamo, second by Mr. Riddle.
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez,
yeah.
second by Mr. Riddle. And then I'll read those, and then we can open discussion if anyone has one. Got you. And actually, so sorry, I should read the recommendation. But we have a motion to approve item B, approval of Dr. Joseph Fisher Education Services Consulting Agreement, Art Core Education, and item G, approval of FY 2022 Urban Gateways Consulting Agreement, Art Core Grant. So we'll start with that one.
It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to approve the consulting agreement with Dr. Joseph Fisher's Art Core Education Services, Art Core Education Services LLC, in the amount of $219,832 to support the work of the Art Core grant.
Thank you. And then you're also going to read item G, which is in your packet. Kathy's on.
Okay. And item G, it is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to approve the consulting agreement with Urban Gateways in the amount of $27,200 to support the work of the Art Core grant.
So we have a motion and a second. With that, Ms. Hannah, did you have a question?
Yes, I want to know, at the previous board meeting, I had concerns regarding the contract language that depicted it where some of the Art Core individuals would not be required to have background checks. And I would like some type of update or what was resolved regarding that.
Mr. Clary, could you please address that?
Yes. Good evening, members of the board. Joseph Clary, Deputy General Counsel. Ms. Hannah, our standard agreement that we have with Urban Gateways and with other vendors typically says that if we request a background check, you'll give us one. And in this instance, Urban Gateways has already had several background checks with some of their vendors, with some of their other clients, but in this instance, we confirmed with them last week, they will be going through the district's own background check process at their cost, and that'll be coordinated by academics.
So in plain words, the individuals will that's involved in this grant and contract will have background checks done.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right.
And as I said, that's our standard, the standard terms that we've been using for quite some time now typically says to all of our vendors, if we ask you to get one, you're going to get one.
Right.
We apply that to everyone. We certainly enforce that with respect to anyone who's going to be interacting with the students.
Absolutely. And my question was provoked because of the contract language that I was reading. Non-personnel, non-covered personnel versus covered personnel. And I just want to make sure that it doesn't matter what category they're in. If they're coming in our school district, they need to have background checks done.
That's correct.
Okay, as long as it's going to happen.
All right, we have item B and G. Are there any other questions? If not, I'll take a roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. All right, we're now at purchases and contracts. So we have 11A, network cable, fiber, and operational abatement support.
Yes. I have a question.
Okay, recommended action that the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent or her designee to approve payment for work completed in support of operations and added network ports. Total of $127,247.
Mr. Riddle, I so move. The motion is read.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second.
Second by Ms. Leguizamo. Any comments or question on the motion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
I'm going to pass on this vote because there's items on here that has not been, no presentation was given for these items. And I believe that we should be given presentations along with the public, seeing how we are spending public funds. And I'm going to pass my vote.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. 11B, approval of bid 2022 HVAC upgrades at Washington, Greenwood, and Whittier Elementary Schools.
It is the recommendation that the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent to accept the low responsible and responsive bids from F.E. Moran, Inc., located at 2265 Carlson Drive, Northbrook, Illinois, for HVAC upgrades, base and alternates, at Washington, Greenwood, and Whittier Elementary for a construction cost of $5,086,000, and from Amber Mechanical Contractors, Inc., 11950 South Center Avenue in Alsip, Illinois, for a construction cost of $1,433,000. Their proposals total $6,519,000. Added to the construction costs is a consultant fee of $521,520 payable to STR Partners, LLC, located at 350 West Ontario Street, Suite 200 in Chicago, a project contingency of 10% of construction costs, and the advertisement cost of $87.42 for a total project budget approval of $7,692,507.42.
So moved, Leguizamo.
Motion by Ms. Leguizamo.
Second.
Second by Mr. Riddle. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Do we have a completion date on this?
Deputy Moden or Mr. Kruckenberg?
And also, in addition to a completion date on this work, there's work going on at some of the schools now. And are we on target for completion deadline?
Yes, thank you for the question, Ms. Hannah. So if I could address your first question, this is going to be a fall to winter of 2022 project timeline for these three schools. This is a full system upgrade at the 3 schools like we've done at other buildings throughout the district. Everything that's currently in progress now is on pace to be completed within the projected timeline and budget.
Yes.
Winter, spring, summer, we have timelines throughout the whole school year. We're making use of all 12 months of the year to get the work completed.
Okay, and let me add one thing. At McCall School, I pass there every day. Could you please have them secure that big, I don't know what it is. It's it's a machine. It's tall and a crane. Okay, could you please have them secure that area, because where it is right today, it's right directly where kids enter the building, exit and exit the building. Okay, and I do see them moving it at different positions at the school, but I am concerned about the safety of our students and our staff.
Yes, we'll follow up on that. Thank you, Ms. Hannah.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any other questions on the item? If not, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. Item C, approval of HVAC work at Washington campus team room and men's locker room.
Recommended action that the Board of Education approve the payment to Hayes Mechanical for work they performed at Waukegan High School, Washington campus, to provide HVAC to the men's locker room and the team room.
Mr. Riddle, so moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Leguizamo. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. Item D, approval of purchase of Halo Smart Sensor Detectors for Waukegan High School, Washington campus.
It is the recommendation that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to approve the contract between ELB US Inc. and WPS District 60 for the purchase of the Halo Smart Sensor Detectors. The quoted total of the contract is $40,983. The installation will be provided by Computer Power Systems at a quoted cost of $25,318. The total proposed cost is $66,000 and $66,301.
Mr. Riddle, so moved.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Wozniak. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Yeah, what is the, I'm not understanding what this detector is. What is supposed to be?
Smoke
It's
vaping detector.
vaping and vaping
I-
In the bathrooms, yeah.
in the bathroom.
I just had a question about, does it go off? Like, will it, like a fire alarm?
This is the reason why I asked about presentations.
This is just a simple question. Yet, like, does it go off or no?
Doesn't go off as like a fire alarm. It'll send a signal to a designated personnel.
Okay, thank you.
But- Board President?
Yes, go ahead.
So I noticed that if the sensors function as they are anticipated, we may be expanding their use at other locations. Would you be able to bring back to the board whether or not they're functioning proper and if we indeed intend to expand this service?
Yeah, so with board concurrence, we can definitely receive a report on, I would like to see how the equipment is performing, you know, and any data that we have. And so we can pick a date for that. Thank you, Mr. Riddle.
Thank you.
So, Dale, who gets the signal when it does go off?
Say again, I didn't hear you, Mr. Blue.
Who gets the signal when it does go off?
Designated security personnel and administrators.
Right.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes. Item approved, motion carries. We are now at item E, approval of ceiling installation in girls' locker room at Waukegan High School, Washington campus.
Recommended action that the Board of Education ratify approval of the installation of new acoustical ceilings in the girls' locker room at Waukegan High School, Washington campus by HAP Builders. As discussed at the November 16, 2020 OSC meeting, emergency asbestos abatement was completed in the girls' locker room at Washington campus. The asbestos removal was approved at the November 23rd, 2021 board meeting. HAP Builders installed a new acoustical ceiling in the girls' locker room to replace the old ceiling that had asbestos-containing materials. Cost for this work, $27,750.
Mr. Riddle, I so move that we approve it as read.
All right, so we got a motion from
Second.
Mr. Riddle, second was Ms. Gonzalez. And any comments or questions?
Board President.
Yes, go ahead.
Quick question on this one, Mr. Moulton. I don't know if I see him in the room. Yes. Just wanted to understand, do we know when the girls' locker rooms will be fully accessible with the new lockers and everything that we're changing in that girls' locker room?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Leguizamo. So this item is something we brought forward previously for the abatement. This has been completed. These locker room spaces are open. We wanted to ensure that we were taking the appropriate action with asking the board to approve the expenditure.
So the new lockers are up, right? I haven't been there in the past few weeks. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Leguizamo. Any other questions? Not, roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We are now at item F, which is approval of mechanical improvements at multiple locations, statement of work number 4.
It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to approve the fourth finalized statement of work for mechanical improvements at multiple school locations as identified in the proposal attached to this agenda item. This fourth statement of work is 34% of the total gross maximum price, $10,757,815, which was approved at the June 22nd, 2021 board meeting and includes mechanical work to be completed at John Lewis Middle School, Little Fort Elementary, Glenwood Elementary, Welcome Center, and Waukegan High School Brookside campus and Washington campus.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms.
I
Wozniak,
second.
second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions?
Yes, this is, there's a note down here that the costs are more than the estimated cost for the identified projects by $128,202 as presented and approved by the board on June 22nd, 2021. And the total master service agreement totaling $10,757,815, and overall the four statements of work and total project are under budget by $23,000.
So that means we're saving money.
Save money.
Yes, we are saving money, and but has this work already been done?
Thank you for the question, Ms. Hannah. This work has not been completed. This work, we're solidifying vendors with Johnson Controls to perform this work in the spring and summer of 2022. We have mirrored previous agenda items, and we want to be clear and explicit that this statement of work number 4 is over our initial budget by $128,202 because we have added and modified some scope, particularly as you'll see on your item at Brookside and Washington campus.
Right.
However, the overall project cost with all 4 statements of work combined is under budget by $23,058.
At this
So
point, but we don't know if we're going to have change orders as the work proceeds, right?
So
anything could come up.
So we've identified scope, and we are within our total gross maximum price for this project, based on our work with the operations team and Johnson Controls. We are going through this process bound by this price as we navigate this scope of work.
And again, I just want to reiterate, because when the community or people say, and not just community, when anybody says that we aren't spending the money, this is where the money is going, which is directly into these buildings for our students. It's time, it's been time, but it is happening. And there's been over almost $20 million in expenditures on infrastructure just tonight alone, right? And so this is the Board of Education being committed to making sure that our students have the facilities that they need. And so we will continue to push. We will continue to make sure that the monies are used in this purpose. And so kudos to our operations team and our finance team and all of those involved in order to make sure that we are acting with equity so that every building in our district is touched and every student in our district benefits. So thank you. With that, I'd like a roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. Item G, E-rate 2022, year 24 network project switches closet and closet cleanup.
Recommended action that the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent or her designee to approve E-rate 2022 year 24 network projects, switches and closet cleanup. Total cost of $80,870.05. Information Technology Department.
Just that part. You good.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. So with that, do we have a motion to approve the recommended action?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, and then a second have Ms. Wozniak. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We are now at item H, approval to purchase Junior Bulldog football feeder program equipment.
Recommended action that the Board of Education approve the purchase of junior football equipment for the middle school teams from BSN Sports off of the Omina Partners contract R201101. The total of this purchase is $74,449.65.
I make a motion that we approve this as recommended.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Hannah, second by Ms. Leguizamo. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Comments. Mrs. Orbeck, Mrs. Orbeck, I'm glad that you decided to make a move like this. I've been in several districts, and I see our little 7 and 8 year olds. I mean, they look so special when they got those helmets on their head and they standing out there. And then not only that, the parents themselves are sitting in the grandstands and clapping. And I'm a product of one of them parents that's got a 7, 8 year old standing in the audience. So I think this is money well spent. And make sure they get new uniforms. They deserve it.
That's included in the 75. So it's everything. Uniforms, helmets, shoulder pads, all new pads, socks, mouthpieces, everything.
Thank you.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Thank you. Yeah, Board President, I just wanted to make a comment and just commend the team for bringing this up. We've always talked about having a feeder program. I'm excited about the partnership. Junior Bulldogs is an amazing program that has proven records, so I'm really excited about this, especially that it'll be serving close to 300 football players, male and female. They accept both genders, and as well as a cheerleading squad. So I'm really excited about that. And just want to be sure, because usually it doesn't include it, but does it also include shoes for our players?
We're going to put a package together for them and let the parents, it won't be more than like $40 for cheerleading. For example, it'll be the cheerleader, the shoes and the poms and the bows will be $40 package for the parents to buy as part of their fee. And then for football, we don't have shoes included. We have their own jerseys they get to keep with their name on the back that they will purchase as part of their small fee that they'll pay to play in the program.
That's amazing. The only last and final question that I have, I meant to send it to you, but I apologize, I didn't send it in advance. I talked to the previous coaches about purchasing something like this for our football program at the high school, but now also at our middle school, more importantly, is potentially purchasing some soft helmets for practicing. That helps to reduce concussions as well in the football program. So I've talked a little bit about that, but just wanted to put that on your radar as well. So thank you. Those are all my comments, Board President.
Thank you. I just want to again stress the importance of increasing access and opportunity, and this is one of the ways that we'll do so. I know that I'm going down on a limb, but we talked about those fees. I want to know what they are when everything is finalized, and not tonight, but when they're finalized. And then we as a Board of Education will need to look at what we need to do or how we need to fundraise. But I don't want any child who wants to play sports to not have that opportunity. And as we talk about rebuilding our football program, this is a start in the right direction. So kudos to making it happen. It starts 2022, 2023. But these are the type of partnerships that I love to see and want to see more of. So we do have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan-Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We are now at I, approval to purchase lunch tables at Carmen Buckner, Clark, Greenwood, Hyde Park, North, and Oakdale Elementary Schools.
Recommended action that the Board of Education approve the purchase of wall pocket tables and benches from Lowry McDonald, located at 960 Lively Boulevard, Wooddale, Illinois, for 6 elementary schools: Carmen Buckner, Greenwood, Hyde Park, North, Oakdale, and Clark. The total for all 6 schools is $510,266.20.
I make a motion.
Motion.
We approve this as recommended.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Hannah, second by Ms. Leguizamo. Comments or questions on the motion?
Comment.
Go ahead, Ms. Leguizamo.
I just wanted to clarify here because the subject may be just a little bit misleading, but what is being approved is what is noted on the recommended action. We are not purchasing lunch tables. We are purchasing the wall pockets that these lunch tables will fold into. So it's actually on the wall, and the table will just go seamlessly and into the wall pocket there. So I just wanted to make that comment. It is under the recommended action, but the subject line may be a little bit misleading on that one, okay?
As a clarification, if I may, good evening, Board. Ms. Leguizamo, thank you for the question. We will not be utilizing the older lunch tables that we currently have. It is a package, if you will, where we buy the packet that goes into the wall, and then the tables will also be new that fold into the wall as well to maximize space for both the gym and the lunchroom that are used in that way.
Oh, that's great to hear, because I sent the question earlier and it said it was just the assembly, the wall pocket assembly.
It's the wall and then the tables.
It includes a new table as well. That's
absolutely.
amazing.
And each of the tables will have the school's logo or mascot on it. It's really nice.
Thank you for that clarification.
Sure.
Go ahead, Ms. Hannah.
Ms. Patty?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you all decided what you all are going to do with the old retiring tables?
Oh, definitely bring that for consideration with our operations team. We need to look at the quality of what they currently look like, making sure that they are still, nice tables that can be used for other purposes. And if they can be used for alternate ways, I'm sure that we'll maximize them before we decide to discard them. But we'll talk through that with operations.
There's nonprofit
Absolutely.
Organizations out there that could possibly utilize those tables if they're in good shape.
Yep. Noted. Thank you.
With that, I'd like a roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan-Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We are now at item 12, personnel items. We got 12A. For the sake of time, no, it's fine. We'll take them separate. Item 12A, personnel 121421.
Recommended action that the Board of Education accepts the administration's recommendation to approve the appointments and accept the resignations, retirements, and leave of absences as found on schedules F970, L917, G628, and N769. Also approve a head coach position.
Mr. Riddle, so moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Leguizamo. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Yes, I have comments first about earlier today during audience time. We heard a staff talk about the very thing I was talking about, raising the pay for our substitute teachers as well as for our paraprofessionals. And I want to say this publicly, that we as a board, we need to look at that so that we can retain our staff here at Waukegan instead of them having opportunities to make more money, 5 minutes, 10 minutes in either direction in other school districts. So we need to remain competitive and think about doing that.
Comment?
And I would just, one, perfect, I think that's awesome. But just remember, what, is it a question on the item that's before us? Or a comment on the item that's before us?
No.
So I'm going to ask that you hold it, but I will give you time. Is that okay? Go ahead.
It's just really quick. It's a quick sentence, so I appreciate that, Board President. But I also just want to let the public know that the Board of Education is currently aware of some information that is being done for the subs and paraprofessionals, and that information will be disclosed at a more future date. And so we will, it's not that we aren't looking at something, not that we don't know of anything. We do, and we are aware, and something will be coming forward at appropriate time. So I just wanted to make some clarification on that. Thank you, Board President.
And I didn't mention it at the start, and Deputy Cesarios, but the superintendent wanted to be here, but she is out with illness, and she did tell me it was okay to share that, so I am. But that was what was coming up during the superintendent's report, was on our current sub situation. So I forgot to mention that in my opening, but thank you. And if there aren't any other questions related to the motion, I'm going to ask that we have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan-Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. Congratulations. I see, is this our new football coach in the back?
Yes.
She'd be so kind, so
Congratulations,
please
Coach.
stand. So current Waukegan staff member who's been on staff and helped with the team. And so thank you for stepping up in this way. And we appreciate it. Next item is 12B, settlement agreement and release. Smith versus Board of Education et al.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the settlement agreement in the form presented by the General Counsel and authorize the Board President to sign the agreement.
Mr. Riddle, so moved.
Second.
Motion. Oh, so we got a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Callahan-Wozniak?
Yes.
Ms. Leguizamo?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ewing?
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We are now at item 15A, ratification of the first processing of board bills for December 2021, manual check request payments and First Midwest insurance payments for the period of November 17th, 2021 through December 7th, 2021.
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education ratify the first processing of board bills for November 2021 and manual check request payments and First Midwest insurance payments for the period of November 17th, 2021 through December 7th, 2021. The accounts payable board November 17th, 2021 through December 7th, 2021 payments total $4,549,390.02. The manual check request payments for the period of November 17th, 2021 through December 7th, 2021, total $2,181,163.16. The first Midwest insurance payments for the period of November 17th, 2021 through December 7th, 2021 total $1,791,236.04.
Mr. Riddle, I so move that we approve the motion as read.
Motion by Mr. Riddle,
Second.
second by Ms. Wozniak. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak. Yes. Ms. Leguizamo.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Mr. Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. All right, it is now 8:20. We are at reports and presentations. Committee reports, are there any? Go ahead, Ms. What?
Do we want to report? I can report
Go
out
ahead,
on the
Ms. Gonzalez.
PTAC. Last week, Dr. Hillary was able to give us a rundown about behavior and student discipline, and I thought, she's very knowledgeable. I think it's very important to keep up to pace and to understand SB 100, which a lot of community members sometimes have a hard time understanding. But the turnout was a little, not as up to par. So I hope that as we keep hosting these meetings, that we give her more of an audience, because she's central in this work in the district. We have a PTAC meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. Again, it's either virtual or you could go to the Welcome Center. And yeah, other than that, not too much else from the other committees, but just wanted to shout her out.
So, can I ask a question about the committee?
Yes, go ahead.
A question, sure.
Yeah, so this is, they're doing the information regarding SB 100 for parents.
Anyone who goes.
Okay, staff as well? Or is
Anyone
that
who goes,
something
yeah.
different?
It's open. It's not restricted in any way.
So is this what was requested for SB 100 to be understood by staff, by the district staff?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think that's what why she reviewed it in general, but she just did a whole scope of work, a whole presentation that day. Yeah.
So
and it was in her committee meeting. So we have the PTAC, and then we have committee meetings, and it was in
Right.
her committee meeting that she did that.
So I guess maybe this is a Mr. Cesario, Dr. Cesario question. If it is not mandated that they have the information about SB 100. If you remember, a few meetings ago, I had made a comment about getting, having the staff informed about SB 100 and because it's being interpreted, misinterpreted, and so I'm asking, is the what Ms. Gonzalez
PTAC
and PTAC are doing, is that for staff as well, or are you planning on doing something other than that so that the staff can become more knowledgeable about SB 100 and what it means, that so that they get.
Yes, I think those are good suggestions. I'd have to talk with the area superintendent and Dr. Hillary to talk about what the best way to do that is. But I can get back to you on that.
Yeah, because I thought we were going to get some clarification for our staff members that were apparently misunderstanding and misinterpreting SB 100. Therefore, that's what we're hearing, where the kids are being disciplined and so on and so forth. And I thought that that's what we were going to do, or talk about, or something.
Yeah.
Ms. Patty has her hand up.
Sure.
Ms. Patty.
Sorry, good evening again. Sorry. We did have a session with Dr. Hillary and her and Mr. Valadez with the high school and AOEC culture climate assistant principals, directors, and principals. That was about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago now, with Thanksgiving being there as well. We plan on bringing that forth to our middle school and our elementary administrative teams next. We started with our high school teams first. We did have that orientation and deep training in the evening one night as a Wednesday. It was about 3 or 4 weeks ago with our administrative team at the high school.
Okay, and are you seeing any difference?
I think that there's there was a lot of good questions that came up. There was a lot of good clarification that came out, and I think that over the past few weeks we've been able to implement some of the learning so that we have more consistency across how different administrators may be handling similar situations. So I would say yes, it was worth the investment and time for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just add on to that, because I'm also part of the PTAC, which is the Parent Teacher Advisory Committee. What the Parent Teacher Advisory Committee, what they do is that they look at all the different policies and other procedures that are happening in our school district, and that panel then advises the administration and the school board of what they recommend to occur, right? And as we're looking at the SB 100 information, one of those recommendations could potentially be about the professional development, and as Ms. Patty had talked about, administration is already been getting some professional development, but maybe the PTAC will start talking about we need it more at the teacher level, at the nurse level, et cetera, et cetera. So that's our recommendation to the board and to the administration team. So that's how that works. So this work that we're doing as a parent-teacher advisory isn't the actual professional development that you'll see that Ms. Patty was just talking about. But I just wanted to clarify those two. Hopefully that is clearer than mud. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our student board member is studying for finals, so he sends his regrets, but he could not be here this evening. Delegate's report, is there any, Ms. Hannah?
Yes, I would like to make sure that if any of the board members are planning on attending any of the national conference in April 22, as well as the advocacy, which I am, and we need to make sure. I am waiting for our field representative to get back to me to see because of that change where we are Illinois is no longer an affiliate of the National School Board Association, and so I'm still awaiting the final answer as to if we are still going to be allowed to attend those conferences. And I'm hoping hopefully I get the phone call tomorrow, because I've been waiting for a couple days.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Anything
That's it.
for superintendent's report, Deputy Cesario?
I don't have anything.
Ms. Pope? Oh, I guess I don't know if that is the hint to commend the finance department for again receiving an outstanding reporting award, or if there was something that you had to present.
There we go. My apologies.
I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. Board President, Dr. Cesario, board members, community. I just wanted to go over this, and I know that there's probably questions as to why we're not adopting the tax levy. That's because we have some proposed changes, and so we want to come back to you on the 21st to get the actual tax levy approved. We traditionally present the budget in the newspaper for transparency purposes, but we're not required to, because we've traditionally levied less than 5% or 105%. So I briefly want to go over what some of the changes are and kind of explain why we're proposing the changes from the last time that we presented this information. Next slide, please. You all are familiar with the tax levy process, so I won't belabor this. Next slide, please. This slide simply states what I previously stated, which is that we follow the protocols, but we're not required by statute to do any of the truth in taxation, because we're not going over the 105% or 5% over what we actually levied the previous year. Next slide. We presented to you before. This is all of the same information. The assumptions was that we're using a CPI of 1.4%, which is major in computing what our tax limit would be. And we're projecting that the EAV, we don't know what the final number is going to be, but you'll notice that there's an 8.69% increase over what the EAV was before. That's what we're using as a base projection. Next slide, please. We kind of wanted to show you over the years where the changes have been with the CPI over the last few years, starting in 2010, going to 2021, and you'll see how it's like a roller coaster. And we're using the 1.4% as noted here to the right. Next slide, please. Again, you'll definitely see how we had that huge dip in our EAV, which is why we lost a lot of money with our property taxes. And yet, when the EAV was going up, the board asked us to keep our taxes level. And so over the past few years, I think we presented before that the first year we kind of left on the table like $1 million and then $1.2 million. And then I'll show you where we're kind of leaving, going to increase it a little, but I'll tell you why. It's not going to make that much of a difference. Next slide. Again, this is simply showing, this is the same information that we presented before. It's simply showing how we calculated the same information that I just said, right? Next slide. This is the one that I really want to show you. Your note, I have the error on the line with transportation. That's the third from the top. When we originally presented to you, we said that we were going to levy $3.6 million. And on the TART fund, that's the second one with the arrow down, we said we were going to levy $2.899 million. All right? And at the bottom, we said that we were going to have the 4.98%. We were not going to go over the 5%. There's no change there. But the reason why I wanted to change how we were levying is because we're running into some issues with the TART fund. And so by law, the transportation fund is unlimited. So I figured we can move that excess money into the transportation fund, which has the versatility to be able to transfer the money rather than to constantly have legal challenges with the TART fund. And so I propose to change this in our levy document. And that's why we're changing it. Next slide. I kind of want to clear something up. Next slide, please. I kind of wanted to clear something up here. Last time, I didn't make it very clear with the values of the homes. I kind of used my home for the top one. With the value of my home, what would be the savings for me? I'm not seasoned as of right now. And so without the tax relief grant, there would be a savings of $36.12. And so in this particular chart here, I used a board member, I won't disclose which one, who is seasoned. And so for that particular person, there's going to be a $25 rounded up savings. The reason for this is because we paid off 2 of our huge bonds. And so if you refer to that chart before, you'll see that we were typically paying upwards of $6 to $7 million in bond payments, and now we're down to rounding up about $4 million. So that's why it's going down here. Next slide. use the same two properties. You'll notice that with the abatement, remember Mr. Lattimore came up and he presented to you that we have the opportunity to apply, which we did for the $8.2 million and the tax relief grant. Provided we get approved for it, we would have to abate 100% of that, and so it would reduce our tax liability for the constituents of Waukegan. And so with that impact, with the same properties, I would have a savings of 300 proposed, I have to say, because we don't know what the actual numbers are. But with the assumptions that I presented before, I would have a $345 savings, whereas the seasoned person would have $396 savings. And that's provided we get approved for the grant. The other slides here, we've gone over this before, is kind of explaining the tax relief grant, and I wanted to keep it in this presentation when we have the hearing, which we go through that protocol on the 21st. It'll be easier for us to get to through the information because we're presenting it tonight. Next slide, please. Next slide. Unless you all want me to go through this, I can go through all this information. Next slide, please.
Ms. Pope, I was going to ask how long, if we get the property tax relief grant, how long will it last? I mean, for the tax, for the taxpayers. I mean, how many will it be? Just the one taxing cycle, or will it be continuous through multiple year cycles?
2 years. We have to
2 years.
abate 100% of this amount for 2 years. And then the third year, we don't have to abate, but we'll have the opportunity to apply if it is available again. The one thing that we, next slide. The one thing that we wanted to point out to you, we were aware that it might move us from tier 1 to tier 2, but we get to keep this money in our base for evidence-based funding. So it may or may not harm us in some way, but we're hoping that by helping, the taxpayers of Waukegan, it won't harm us with getting money from the state.
Us meaning the district.
The district. So it's similar to what, what we've been doing in terms of leaving the money on the table when we're doing the tax levy or the tax extension.
Right.
But the only difference is we can't recoup those monies at all. And so it just, we lose it forever, right? And so each year is compounded. Whereas with this, it ends after 2 years and we get it in our tax base. So the assumption is that we're really going to keep our money rather than give it up. There's legislation also that says that we won't lose it even though we're abating it, because we have to do that for 2 years. Even though we're abating it, it's still in our base number when we're computing our property taxes, so we don't lose that, unlike what we've been doing.
Ms. Polk, just really quick in regards to the reference that you made, if we were to transition from tier 1 to tier 2, do you know if that will impact our free school lunches?
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Because I know that there was like a tier 1 involvement in that calculation, and I didn't know. So thank you.
Yes,
Appreciate
this
it.
is simply saying how close we are to adequacy. The state has calculations to determine how much the district is supposed to get based on early childhood, based on low income, based on other criteria, and based upon those calculations, how close are we to that number? And right now, we're at tier 1, meaning we're farthest away from adequacy. If there's no other questions, next slide. We did post it in the newspaper. Again, it's not required, but we've always done that just for transparency. And because we didn't present the information tonight for approval, we're going to post it in the newspaper again, just so the revised information is there. It's not within the truth and taxation timelines, but we're not required to do that anyway. But it's for transparency. And then we propose to present this again for board approval on December the 21st.
And when, do you have a estimated or guesstimated time when we will find out if we were successful in getting the property tax relief?
They said that it would be late January, early February that we would find out. So we're hopeful that we're going to get it. Any other questions? I think I went quick.
You did.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Perry.
Thank you.
And again, kudos. I thought that's what we're doing, but the finance department again received an award accommodation, which is the
Thank you.
highest award that you can get for reporting. So
Thank you.
congratulations to you and your department. Next item is just a FOIA report. As we mentioned, we'll be doing these once a month. The information is there for the community and it's public. Next up is old business. We have policy 6010, attendance third reading.
It is recommended that the board approve the amendments to board policy 6010, attendance as recommended by the administration and reflected in the third reading.
Mr. Riddle, I so move. We approve the motion as read.
Motion by Mr. Riddle,
Second.
second by Ms. Wozniak. Any comments or questions on the motion? All in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item approved. We are now at 19A, which is approval of amendment to board resolution, annual waiver of facility use fees for certain nonprofit organizations.
To take it out.
It is a recommendation that the Board of Education, through oral resolution, approve the amendment of the FY 2022 Board Resolution for annual waiver of facilities for certain nonprofit organizations to include the Boys and Girls Club of Lake County.
Mr. Riddle, I so move that we approve the motion as read.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion? All in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item is approved. Motion carries. We are now down. Are there any legal reports?
No, we put it in.
Oh, she just said.
Oh, yeah, it's in the first, it's in line number 2.
Yeah, you just said that.
So we're at no legal reports. Item 22, board member time. So it's 8:43. I'm gonna start down at that end with Ms. Wozniak.
There's been many concerts going on this week. I think we're about wrapped up now. I know there was one this evening, and there was several basketball games that the past couple of weeks. So attend the events that our students are participating in. It's always it's always exciting to see our kids perform.
Thank you, Ms. Wozniak. Ms. Leguizamo?
Thank you, Board President. I was hoping for Mr. Edwards to come up to the podium and talk about his program, so I'm going to do it for you, but I just want to put it out there. Winterfest will be on December 22nd from 12 to 3 p.m., be located at 724th South Genesee Street. So go on ahead and stop by from some fun, food, and family. So thank you very much, Board President.
Thank you. Then I will come back to Ms. Hannah. Mr. McBride?
No comments.
Mr. Riddle?
I'm going to pass. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Wait, what?
Hey!
8:44?
Keep going.
No, thanks everybody. I will be honest, this is not how I thought this night was gonna go. But I'm so thankful it is, because I think we need to be in good spirits for the holidays. I appreciate all the work in the community that people are doing to get coats out, toys out. I know a lot of people are hosting a lot of different drives. As Lucy just mentioned, the Winterfest. This Saturday, I'm looking forward to the Liderazgo meeting that Mano Mano is hosting for local community members. As I said, PTEX meeting tomorrow at 6. There an hour if you want to talk about, discipline policy, like shift ideas with us. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Ms. Hannah?
I just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone. We will have another meeting, but also we have heard, we have been hearing from teachers, from staff members in regard to concerns that they're living through on a daily basis. And it is something that we as the governing board of Waukegan School District 60 should take very seriously, and that we look at the conditions of the district and possibly do a district performance audit. And I will talk about that, continue to talk about that, because we all know that COVID is here. We all know that many people all throughout the world has been affected by COVID. We all know that. And but we also need to understand, and we need to stay focused on what is going on right here in our backyard and deal with what we can do here. Yes, everybody else is going through it too. We need to focus on and come to solutions, resolutions for our school district, for our community. And we are hearing the acknowledgement of things going on, and now we have to accept these things that are going on and come to some kind of resolution as to how we're going to correct and abate, I like that word, even though it's financial, abate some of these concerns so that we can stop the turnover, the staff turnover, the teacher turnover rate in our school district, because if we don't have that, we are not going to be able to adequately provide our students with a quality, equitable education. And so we have to acknowledge what's going on and how we can get on top of it as a collaborative effort with everyone at the table. And after that, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Again, I want to reiterate how proud I am of the efforts from both our finance and our operations teams. Everybody does an amazing job, but as board president, I've worked, and as a board member, I've worked very closely with those two departments, and seeing where we were when I joined the board to where we are today, I'm appreciative. And so as we look at what is circulating on social media, posts that are 2, 3, and 4 years old, I am glad that our schools and facilities do not look the way that they didn't. And I will continue as the board president. Yes, we worry about academics. Yes, we want our students to be successful. But when I ran 4 years ago, we had fresh air, clean water, and good food. That was someone's campaign slogan. And unfortunately, that is what we have to continue to strive for in District 60, is make sure that we are achieving academically, but also meeting those basic needs. And so, Ms. Polk, as we talk, no, I'm telling her to squeeze that lemon as tight as she can, because we ain't gonna raise taxes, but we gonna keep doing these building and infrastructure improvements. So I appreciate the approach towards equity that we take within our finances, and the commitment to make sure that every building is touched and every student sees the benefit. With that, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Wozniak, second by Mr. Riddle. All in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.